Welcome back to another video on fruits of the Spirit. The question I have for today is, what freedom did Jesus promise us in John chapter 8 verse 36? The verse under discussion states, "If the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed." To understand what Jesus Christ said, we'll look at the bondage that the people in Jesus' time were in, and how they were freed from that. The Jews were more focused on how they could meet the elders' expectations, because that's what gave them respect in their day-to-day lives. That was bondage, because if you wanted to serve God instead, well, it would be really hard. They were controlled by societal expectations and pressure instead of their relationship with God. For example, the parents of the blind man who was healed didn't give credit to Jesus Christ, because they didn't want to be put out of the synagogue in John chapter 9 verses 19 to 22. Not being put out of the synagogue and not being looked down by the Pharisees and Jews became more important than actually serving God and His Son, Jesus Christ, because of how tight the customs held the people. People who were known to have associated with Jesus Christ and the apostles were sometimes beaten up or put in prison, like in Acts chapter 17 verses 4 to 9, because they wanted to go against what was usually taught to them. It was like a prison. The people couldn't leave unless they wanted to be ostracized, beaten, or killed. And that's exactly what Jesus Christ wanted to get rid of. Jesus Christ's teachings were focused more on spiritual worship. As he said in John chapter 4 verse 24, "God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth." When you serve Jesus Christ, whether you follow traditions enforced by humans like yourself doesn't matter anymore. Whether people around you are pleased or not doesn't bother you anymore. You're more focused on one thing, serving God. It's like being let free from a prison, and we see this in Paul's statements in Galatians chapter 5 verse 1. "Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage." We also see this in Romans chapter 7 verse 6. "But now we are delivered from the law, that being dead wherein we were held, that we should serve in newness of spirit, and not in the oldness of the letter." So, what does this have to do with you, the viewer? Well, traditions didn't exactly die in ancient Israel. There are many traditions that we have in our own time. Many secular ones consist of owning a home, having a car, having a high-paying job, looking a certain way, especially if you're a woman, and others. All of these things don't contribute to our spiritual lives at all. The bondage here is that everyone expects you to be looking for that, doing that, and seeking that. And when you don't, you won't be regarded highly by anybody. Jesus Christ is saying that when we accept His message and live by it, we will no longer be focused on trying to please fellow humans in order to be validated, because we are seeking validation and praise from God. As was stated by Paul in Romans chapter 2 verses 28 to 29, "For he is not a Jew which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision which is outward in the flesh, but he is a Jew which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of God." Furthermore, we see in 2 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 17, "Now the Lord is that Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty." And that's it for today on the answer to what freedom did Jesus promise us, as we see in John chapter 8 verse 36. If you like this kind of content and would love to see more, then you can always subscribe, hit the like button, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified of when I post again. Have a great day, and I'd love to see you soon.